All right. Good evening, everybody. And Boomer Sooner. It is Tuesday, September 17th, and I am back from a little over a week-long hiatus because, truth be told, I was knocked on my butt by a pretty serious sinus infection that started after I got back from a convention. I want to, say that it was the Houston game that disgusted me so much that I needed a week to recover, but it was not. Let me tell y'all that was a ride to think, oh, is it COVID? It's not COVID. Is it the flu? It was not the flu. It just was a pretty serious sinus infection. But I'm back. I'm like 95% back. I'm still having some pressure in my sinuses, still just a little bit. But I think if I have a couple more meds, I'll be good though. But enough about me though. Tonight, guys, we're joined by the usual crew: Sean, Swiggy, and Gavin. How is everybody doing tonight? How's everybody recovering from the game from over the weekend?
I'm doing well.
I'm just
I mean, I mean, we played Tulane. There was, there was, a little bit. There's a little bit of sweatiness there at one point, but mostly game went how I thought it would go. So, doing pretty good.
Good, good. Sean, how are you doing tonight?
I'm here.
It's Tuesday.
That's it is. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. It is
Yep.
Tuesday. Gavin, what about you, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and all I can say is, can we give our Mason Thomas finally some diligence and everything? Where in the world has he been almost all this time?
No, he's. It's a one game flash in the pan. That's it.
I hope it's not, but speaking of our Mason Thomas, let's just jump right in at this point so we can move on from it. So OU beats Tulane 34 to or 30, yeah, 31 to 19. They cover the spread, and as Swiggy said, they kind of do what we all expected them to hopefully do. They can't keep getting away with it with these close games, but sure enough, OU finds a way to win at this point. With the offense beginning the hum, defense had a little bit of a kind of bit of a lull until, like Gavin said, our Mason Thomas emerges. Um, I guess my first question to y'all tonight will be, what was your general takeaway from the game? Like, what's one positive we can take away from the overall game outside of we won?
It was a
I
game where things happened.
I mean
Oh,
the one thing I would probably take away was like, if you basically I kind of just divided it into halves. That first half was pretty much as perfect as how you want it to basically be for for how the OU team should be operating, other than a few plays here and there. The problem is basically continuing it after going into the locker room. That has been the biggest letdown for more than anything. And
mhm.
I would say, like, if anything, like, there has been like a few key improvements, but I am still not at the confidence of how I'm going to be looking forward to the SEC with the way this line has been playing at all.
And that's true. And that's true. I mean, the third quarter woes have always kind of been with us for a couple years now, and it seems like they still haven't gone over that hump at this point. Sean, what do you think from the Tulane game? What was one takeaway for you specifically that we can hang our hats on at this point, that we can look positively towards at least going starting into SEC play?
We learned the touchdown play. That was one thing. Um, the offense upgraded from non-existent to slightly average. The impossible has happened. So I'm not being facetious when I say that. It actually took steps forward. Like, Luttrell did everything that I begged him to do. He spoon fed Jackson Arnold throws. He got him in a rhythm in the first half. They got away from whatever they were doing, what was working in the second half a little bit. We could talk about all day about what went wrong here or there, but they were able to find ways to you know get the ball moving down the field, whether it's like taking the restrictor plate off of Jackson Arnold's legs helped a little bit as well. You also have the fact that there were fucking morons who were ripping on the defense in that game, and you can. Number one, you walked into this game knowing Tulane was going to do something. I said going into the game, they could, if the offense doesn't get going, Tulane is capable of scoring 17 points. What do they get? 19.
19 and
So
19.
they were more. So they again, if he
and one was a pick six.
Right, I understand that, but like the point I'm trying to make is, it's like they, defense did their job. They had a couple, obviously Dolby was out for protocol, and that he was missed. Definitely, he'll be back this week, from what it sounds like. Obviously, he's got to go through protocol completely, but unless there's like a horrible setback, he should be playing. But again, just this run defense is for real. And this is like a really, really good test. And there's one thing that Tennessee Tennessee is really explosive, but they love to run the football. And that's going to be a matchup I'm looking forward to seeing, is like our run defense against, their ability to run the ball. And, that could really set things up for some big third and longs. And Nico can make the throws, don't get me wrong, but that's going to be something that to keep an eye on there. But for the offense, look, they had to play some of the young guys. Azita got in there, and he had some like bad mistakes. That's going to happen, but the offense was a little bit more consistent. Now the backs definitely need to, take it to the next level, because those run lanes are starting to open up a little bit, and you got to turn some of those 4 to 5 yard runs into 10 to 15, 20 if you can, to really open this thing out. Because everyone wants a video game offense to come back, and
that's still years off.
Well, I don't even know if it's years off per se. It's just the fact that if you want the offense to get a little more explosive, you got to get the run game going. You have to get the run game going to open up the passing game to an extent, because you're not going to get big plays downfield if they don't respect your running game. So the running game has got to like keep evolving, keep getting better. Whether that's playing Taylor Tatum more, or just getting Branson Hitman back this week, which should obviously be a huge boost, because he's no longer wearing a boot. He's practicing. Nick Anderson if Nick Anderson doesn't play this week, cancel football. I don't know what else to tell you at that point, but he'll give you definitely an option to throw down the field potentially. And like this will be the healthiest this team has been all year up to this point. And you got to need everyone, all hands on deck you can get. Like there's Gentry Williams might be available, but that's still kind of like to be determined.
Remind me again, because I forgot, why was Gentry out? Because it's honestly, with all the injuries, I completely forgot.
He's made of glass, so you just got to he's just made of glass. You just got to live with
gotcha.
So he's Mr. Glass. Troy Everett is potentially healthy, but I'm not expecting him to start or have major minutes anytime soon. And Jake Taylor, I know, is kind of probably game time decision if he's going to play. But I think he would be available in an emergency. So, but for the most part, we're going to have a report tomorrow, an official SEC, availability report for every team. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun content for me to come up with, or to talk about, I should say. But no, just the thing that I think we should be excited about on the defensive side of the football. I mean, you mentioned Mason Thomas just like dropped out of a helicopter. I don't know. It felt like out of nowhere. And don't worry, guys. Leave this to me. I'll finish this game. And he literally had 4 or 5 of the most impactful plays on defense.
Yeah,
that's why he got the National Award of the Week. Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah. Nebraska Award.
He got. I would say he got in the stadium. I'm not going to say some of the loudest cheers, but there was a lot of cheering that with people finally.
People kept hearing his name. People said number 32, Mason Thomas. They're like, holy shit. He just keeps if he would have gotten that point blank, pick That would have the whole place would have exploded. They would have
Oh
to
yeah,
cancel,
it would have.
They would have had to have canceled
Yeah.
the game this week because they would have no stadium to play in.
It was that close. It was in our side of the field too, where
So
we saw it. He had it, and oh man,
I don't expect everyone to make that play.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest I can think of was Gerald McCoy picked off Tebow. That was the closest thing I could think of, but he didn't jump that high. But defensively, the one thing I think we can start getting a little excited about. We started this year looking at this defense, at least I did anyways, and other guys is okay, this defense is not going to be elite, but it's going to keep you in games. It has a strong run defense. We force turnovers. We've already
Danny, to me, being on the field leader is that reason. See, I don't know if they showed on TV as closely, but when you're in the stadium, you see him pointing to people, dragging people.
Well, yeah, he
is that guy.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
He and Kobe McKenzie are doing that.
Yeah.
So which is important. But but they've already matched their total from last year of forced fumbles, because they were a heavy interception team last year, which I think those are coming. Obviously, we had a pretty big one by a little tip drill, which landed in Billy Bowman's hands. But what really should get people excited is that I think we're on the precipice of going to that next level. That level we've been waiting for years, many years.
Are you talking as on the defense?
Well, I'll tell you if you let me say it.
Okay, go ahead.
Guys like R. Mason Thomas, the switch is flipped. PJ is making those moves that we've been waiting for, because now PJ is not the flashy guy that's why isn't he doing the speed rush? That's not his game. You go back and watch the tape. He's making those turn up inside. If it wasn't for R. Mason Thomas being such a freak that day, PJ would have gotten 2 sacks himself. That's how insane. That's the conversation we're having now.
Yeah.
And Grayson
Holton, and it's taken him time. I will say,
PJ was skinny up top, and he needed time to get his shit right. But Grayson Holton is our best passer, and the run, and it's just, we're not even talking about the exotic blitz packages. Brent is holding back for a game like this, and
so. Go ahead. I had a follow-up question.
I know I'm going on a long tangent here.
No, you're good.
I'm just saying, defensively, Brent has this team ready to potentially, if things work out the way it can, he can put Nico in a blender for a little bit and keep OU. If the offense is sucking in this game, which I think there's a good chance that can happen, he can keep OU in this game. It would be really cool. The defense could get some points themselves. That would be awesome. But the offense has to take the next step. They have to be able to find ways to run the ball. It's going to be a challenge. It is not going to be easy. There's going to be some bad possessions. There's going to be some moments where Arnold's going to have his shit pushed in. It's just reality. It's going to happen, and people are going to lose their minds because we're gonna
That's the nature of the beast.
We're going to if you don't have the mindset of that this is going to be that if you want to win this football game, it has to be 2015 all over again, you're not paying attention. You need to have that mindset that if you want to win this football game, you need to be ready to go 4 quarters, maybe longer, to win this thing. So, and defensively, OU in 2015 of all years was able to do that
correct,
on the road. And so
at Tennessee.
But it's there's little things to be excited about. Is it enough to get the W? We don't know what type of quarterback Nico is against a legit opponent that,
I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
In the regular season, because I don't care about beating Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. They have no offense like they were.
Or Kent State of all teams.
Well, no, it's like Tennessee fans get mad. I say when you say they haven't played anybody, but it's like two things can be true. You're a really good football team, but you haven't played shit. And NC State was ranked. NC State almost lost to Western Carolina week 1. I know they're not.
Correct.
So now Nico has not been forced to put the team on his back yet and like win the game because it's been a very balanced offense for the most part. He's only had like he hasn't had any monster football games stat wise, which doesn't mean he's incapable of doing that. It just means the fact that they've run the football very effectively. And what do we do really well? We stop the run. And so, the irresistible force meets the immovable object when it comes to that battle. And so that's where, you stop the run, then it becomes, all right, force Nico to beat you. And he's got the ability to do it. But again, it opens up the door to unleash R. Mason Thomas and PJ and all those guys to see if they can, because that Tennessee O-line's good. So,
yes, they are. James,
right,
I think it's
I'm
James
done.
Pearson is gonna wreck.
No, it's James Pierce.
Some of our
not
James
Pearson.
Pierce. I was thinking Pearson. Sean, you would know.
You need to know his name. He's like the best pass rusher in the whole SEC. That's like you need to know that name because you will know that name by the end of Saturday.
I will. The chat asked a question. You would probably be the best person to answer it. Is McCullough going to be playing this Saturday? Do you think he's going to be in rotations?
He might, but I mean, I'm not. This is no disrespect towards him. It's like
there's better guys ahead of him.
It's not that they're better guys. It's just that I'm not concerned whether he plays or not, and that's not. And I don't mean that as disrespect towards him. It's like that's
a good thing.
That is not the side of the football I'm concerned. Like I'm more concerned about getting Kendall Dolby back than I am Deshaun. Because Kendall Dolby is like
Kendall's, in my opinion,
we missed him last week, and there were moments where it's like, I wish Kendall Dolby's out there because Woody was out there trying to play cheetah, and it wasn't really working at times. Yeah. But even so, it's like we're like a couple inches away from like a goal line stand on that one touchdown that Tulane got because
he did not get it in. I will stand. It's not a hill.
I'm not gonna like nitpick on that one, but it's like if you want to like keep him out, make it obvious that he doesn't get in, or come close to it. So it's like I don't know, like what referees were. It's like everyone's crying about referees or.
I mean, I agree. I was there. I thought the referees were on those two calls were just bad. Like that. No, I take that back on a couple with it, but you can't let stuff get away from you when it's in front of you.
The Big 12 refs were worse. So
yeah. To follow up on a question you had earlier, Sean, of this team taking this next step, I want to focus on the offense for just a moment. You mentioned that Seth did things that you've been asking him to do for like 2 weeks now.
Mostly 1 week because everyone pretends week 1 was terrible. It's like it wasn't awful. It was like, okay, that's week 1, blah blah blah. We need to clean something. Week 2 is where it got weird because like, okay, you like. So it's like I always hate when people bring up week 1. It's like, wait a minute. I know week 1 the game wasn't in danger.
No. Things got weird in the second half. I never felt they were in danger, but I thought it got weird. But do you think his hand was a little bit forced that he had to start running Jackson Arnold? He had to open up the playbook
they had
just slightly. Otherwise, Tulane could have beaten you.
Well, we knew going into Tulane could win that game the way they were playing. But no, Jackson Arnold's run game was going to be part of this offense this year. And I'm sure they didn't want to have to unleash that until like this weekend. But guess what? Like that one where they said instead of doing RPO, we're gonna do simple read option, and the one where he just like he fooled everybody, where he just ran up the sideline.
He fooled me.
I like the only thing that would have made it better is if he actually got in the end zone. But it's like, oh my God, that was an amazing fake. Like it was such.
He is good at hiding the ball.
Well, no, it wasn't just him. The fake was so good. Taylor Tatum, like sometimes running backs just like let up, like, oh, I don't have the ball, guys. No, he still acted like he had the football and fooled people. And even he had a lane. If he had the
Yeah.
ball, he still could have fucking gone. So that's how good that fake was. And like, holy shit. And like the dude, like Jackson runs like a gazelle and just
He runs like Taylor does.
Well, no,
he doesn't.
Taylor's different.
He doesn't hunch over. He runs upright. I like that. I'm not a fan of usually the power run unless that's your build for it, like Samaje, for example.
Well, it's interesting was like before he was quarterback, and I was hearing through the broadcast before high school and all that, he was playing as running back, during his middle school and elementary school days. So he was learning how to run the ball before he even threw it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that translated really well. Sean, you mentioned the fake and stuff too. It made me think of that NFL play a couple weeks back where the guy just sacked the quarterback. I forgot what teams were even playing, but he was convinced he got him. Ball wasn't even with the quarterback. He just sold it that well. Jackson sold it, and that was a fantastic. And that's the expectation I had for Jackson Arnold going into this season. Like at some point, we're going to see those leaps, and I think we're starting to see those leaps now that he gains more confidence with the O-line. Go ahead.
I still have a bone to pick with the O-line. I really have been, and hate to say it, our left guard, and I have been on this whole issue and everything. I really want to make sure. Do we even have anybody in the left guard position that we can just actually fill in at this point? Because like the left guard for me was probably
got to be your guy.
weakest.
No. Zeta has to be your guy. I'm sorry. But
okay,
I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling to you. I'm not mad at you, but it's like you can't they have to. If Hickman comes back, like you have to have someone there who's like he's gonna make mistakes. But like what they were doing before was just not working. So to OU was moving the football effectively in the first half with him in there at left guard. He's gonna make those young player mistakes. I'm sorry, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be some rough spots, but we're at the point right now where you have to play that dude. And if it's not him, if Eddie Pierre-Louis is going to be that guy at some point where you put him in there, but it's like he's the one guy they can put in there who is more effective than anybody else, but will still make mistakes. And I would rather have the young guy who's more effective, who's going to, because if the other guys are going to make mistakes too or not make plays, I'd rather have the guy who makes plays and is going to make a few mistakes, but learns as the season goes on.
So you basically then say picking the two poisons, you want the guy with a higher ceiling.
I want Heath Zeta where he could potentially open up a lane for Tatum to go for 60 yards. And yes, and then maybe the next series he gives up a sack to Jackson Arnold, and it's going to suck. But we got to do something different. And I know people blame Heath Zeta for being out of position with the Pixies. That wasn't all on him. That was a whole other foobar thing. And then Jackson tried to force something, and then everyone, we're going to lose now. But we're at the point right now where he is your best option right now. Now, Hickman coming back is going to help because he'll be experienced in calling the play. They were able to get away with it because before they had to have Sexton there at left guard to tell Bates what to do to call the plays. And then they were able to move that around. And apparently Bates was, I don't know if Bates was able to do it on his own, or they had Ozeta, or they had someone else tell him, however it worked out. But
didn't Scoop say this was like one of Bates's better games as of late?
Well, yeah, I would hope so, considering it's like game number 3 for him. And he's playing with a bad elbow. And Hickman's the one guy who, if he's healthy on Saturday, will have all 4 functioning limbs ready to go. So that's an upgrade automatically. And then again, and we'll finally get to a point where guard center guard finally feels a little bit more stable, just a tad.
Yeah.
And you'll have Sexton there at left, and then I would prefer to have, Taylor there at right, or Tarquin, but it's just Tarquin's had his moments. I said, tackle's going to be adventure this year. It's just going to be. And
Gavin, does that kind of answer your question, or are you going with another direction with it?
Well, it was part of my question that was kind of going into that, but I think the part of the things that was frustrating me was basically trying to double team with with the center. That was kind of where I was getting the frustration a little bit too, because it's like for me, it was like I understand, that you're wanting to basically making sure the defensive tackle doesn't get through the rip, but you're kind of putting yourself in this position, especially on those blitzes and everything that it goes through the B gap. It was just kind of where I was so more irritated and everything. I give a lot of credit to what you're saying, Sean. I really do. It was just a lot of it for me. It's like I've really have a lot of the issues of like basically double teaming where you didn't need to really double team and leaving yourself vulnerable.
I get it. I get it, but it's like this is kind of where we're at, and we have to like this is our bed. We made our bed. We got to sleep in it right now because Lance Hurd is starting on the Tennessee offensive line, and we tried to go get him, and we did not win that battle, and that is a result of that's one of the results of our O-line right now. We desperately needed to get one of the big boy tackles in the portal. And there are very few of those every year. You can go get a guard. You can go get a center.
Yeah.
Getting quality tackles, like Spencer Brown ain't it. And Spencer Brown is forced to play at times, and it makes me sad.
He's a liability.
I mean, Fasusi I think Fasusi visited this past weekend. I wish he
did.
I wish he was able to suit up and play. And Foje get him in there too. But it's I know they're still trying to get one more offensive lineman for this class, and we'll see how that turns out. I know Babaloa still hasn't committed to anybody yet, so if you still have hope for Babaloa for whatever reason, I'm sure. But I need to hear something. I need to hear more momentum before things, because he going to Michigan's is a trash fire themselves, more so than us. And they're responsible for this Texas being number one BS. And we'll have a talk with our Sharon Moore about that afterwards. But no, the O-line, it's gonna be what it is. It is what it is, and people are gonna scream and get mad. And there's gonna be games where we lose because of that O-line. Sorry, guys, it's gonna happen. It could be Saturday. It could be in Dallas. It could be. It's probably definitely gonna be in Oxford. That I don't know how we're gonna win in Oxford at this point. It's just going to be that's going to be a really tough one. Missouri, I still think we can whoop their ass. I'm not going to lie.
Missouri
don't impress me that much.
No.
I put them in sus at this point.
Oh yeah.
I feel good about beating Auburn. I feel confident about Missouri. South Carolina is kind of up and down depending. That's a home game. I'd rather that be a home game than a road game. But
what about LSU?
Real briefly, because I want to make sure
we'll cross that bridge when we get to the end of the season and see where we're at.
Okay.
Nobody.
I want to make sure.
Nobody knows what we are. I mean, nobody knows what we are, and God knows I don't know what LSU is yet.
They suck. They do.
Great choke job by South Carolina, though. That was beautiful.
Real briefly before we get into some of the other games, Sean, I want to make sure I get to AJ's question. Correct me if I'm wrong. OU ran a very simplified RPO offense over the weekend, correct? It was much more. It seemed like it was more manageable.
They ran a little more read option too.
Okay,
like that play that Jackson where he ran down the sideline and everything. That was his basic read option.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I was trying to remember
that wasn't no RPO. There was no. That was either going to Tatum or that was going to Jackson for a run. Like one of those two guys were running. So again, they simplified things. Like they said, okay, you're Tulane. You're gonna give us dink and dunk plays. We'll take every dink and dunk play and get our quarterback in a rhythm. The only thing we didn't get to see is big plays downfield. That's still concerning. And
so you're covering my question, and I'll ask it anyway. Though, do you think, and be real with me, do you think they're holding that back, or does it not exist?
No, they just don't. They don't have okay. You got to remember, Nick Anderson has been out. All of our Jane Gibson out for the year. Farouk is out for however long. All of our receivers are midgets. And if I offend anybody, I don't give a shit. It's like we're
There's-
all
dude,
everyone.
I think I'm the highest, the same height as our highest one.
Like
we're short.
someone out there might be 6 foot. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you don't have that guy you can go one-on-one down the field and get separation. Like, Deion Burks is that one guy, but he's your slot guy. And they're using because the offensive line is not good enough to protect your quarterback long enough for those routes to develop. And it ain't gonna happen against any legit team this year unless you do some really smart play action, or you have Jackson Arnold scramble to his right, get out of the pocket, and find someone breaking free downfield. So it's just, we do not have the ability to just chuck it. There's a reason we have barely 200 yards passing or whatever, or a combined 150 yards rushing or whatever. Like, we're winning games with sub 400 yards total offense. And it's kind of amazing so far. Now,
because of the defense.
Yeah, because the defense is actually now Saturday is the day where the defense becomes real or not.
Here, well, and to lead kind of into that, just to preview before tomorrow, because I want to live stream tomorrow too. Here's my other question to you. Now, I asked you the offense question. Here's my defense question for you. You said that the defense looks like they're starting to take that next step from
they're flashing. They're flashing it at least.
Correct. Is there an area of concern? To me, if we have a pass rush, we're in this game with Tennessee at least under 7 into the third quarter. Does it concern you that the defense kind of, I don't want to say fell apart because that would be exaggerating, but
they didn't fall apart. Who said they fell apart?
No.
A bunch of loser fans and a message board said they fell apart?
No. I guess a better way to say is they looked. The second half was very lackluster after Tulane made adjustments. Do you think those adjustments hurt them, or do you think it's because they got gassed, essentially?
Well, yeah, they were tired. They were having to carry the whole damn team. And number two, Tulane is the best team of all the teams that OU and Tennessee have played this year so far. Tulane's the best one. All right,
100%.
Tulane should have beaten Kansas State. They if it wasn't for a penalty, like an OPI or whatever, they win the football game. And we're playing a ranked Tulane team. We're talking about we're one play away from talking about beating a ranked Tulane team, basically, because that's what Tennessee fans will say. Well, we beat a ranked NC State. NC State's trash. Tulane's a football program now. Michael Pratt didn't get his 18th year of eligibility, so he couldn't come back anymore. So obviously Mensa was the QB. But even so, Tulane has dudes. Tulane had Mario Williams. We recruited him. He was a 5-star wide receiver. We were able to keep him in check for the most part.
He was almost non-existent, to be honest.
Tulane has dudes on the D line. This is a Louisiana program who gets Louisiana kids and stuff like that. Okay,
they're an SEC team.
They're an original SEC team. Because anytime I hear some fucking loser football fans, we're doing this against Tulane. I fucking hate these people. I want to put them in a fucking wood chipper. And it's like, God damn it. Tulane is 2 years ago, they won the goddamn Cotton Bowl. They're not some garbage fucking football program. And it just irritates me when
that's
I hear
why,
shit
and let me
from
apologize
like
I don't think I'm using the word probably to exaggerate.
I'm not saying you did that, but I'm just like,
right.
We knew this was going to be a game based on how we were playing. The reason now preseason, it's like, okay, if this team lives up to their expectations, pre-injuries, till all the injuries racked up, I thought, listen, they won this game by 15 points, covered the spread. If this team was healthy and had a solid line and didn't have to shuffle around things, they probably win this game going away. Mm-hmm. But again, we're trying to rebuild things a little bit on the fly, and we still won the game by 15 points against a solid program. Granted, Willie Fritz isn't there anymore, but what's left over is still there to an extent.
Correct.
And I'm sure Willie Fritz has, thoughts about whether he should have left or not, but it was a power 4 job to Houston. So, but again, it's whenever it's I need people to realize that we're in a new era of football, especially with the portal. Teams with helmets that you don't recognize as power schools, there's a lot more success for players that drop down from the quote unquote Power 4 level to the teams like Tulane and stuff, then usually the other way around. Like if you look at like because look, Mario Williams is finally actually a contributor on a football team now. He was to an extent with SC. He had a few moments, but he
was a Jag.
No, he's not a Jag at all. The dude's still got 5-star talent. He's the leading receiver for Tulane.
No, I'm talking on USC. He was a Jag where he just was not.
I don't think that's fair, but at the same time, he wasn't like the number one guy. He's fighting time with like guys like Jordan Anderson and Zachariah Branch and stuff like that. So it was a crowded room. So I understand,
and I didn't think about that. That's very fair.
So it's like to call him a Jag is like, I'm not going there. That's like calling. That's like when Tashard Choice left OU because he was behind Adrian Peterson. Tashard Choice wasn't a Jag. He went to Georgia Tech and became a star there. So and so it's like again, I need me wishing for people. For football fans to be more smart about football is the same as like asking the voter base to be more smart about who you're voting for in an election.
That's so
again, it's just you're wishing in one hand and crapping in the other. But again,
that's like the same equivalent of asking Dean Blevins, can he not ask stupid questions at press conferences? Like you're asking a lot.
Well, Dean only shows up for the big games, which means he might show up more often now. Which fuck. Because we're in the SEC now. Dean only showed up for like Texas Week and a big non-conference game and Bedlam, and so he might be forced to do his job and show up more often now. But like he would never show up for Tulane. He would never show up for all those other games. Fucking Dean Blevins.
What? Yeah, Venables was like he was.
You guys are really missing Gavin Freeman. Shut the fuck up, Dean. No one's missing Gavin Freeman. Gavin Freeman don't make a fucking difference on this team. I'll tell you that right now.
I got two more questions, and then I think I have my follow-ups in that. When you mentioned Mario Williams, you mentioned the player right behind Adrian Peterson. That kind of was a follow-up to.
It's Tashard Choice, damn it, he was awesome.
Tashard Choice, thank you. Do you think that's to these G6, whatever? At least a select few of them are starting to catch up to Power 5 programs. It's not.
They're never going to.
Talent is losing.
They're never going to catch up to the. They're never going to catch up to the Georgias and stuff like that. But there's a lot of G5 programs.
Kansas State. Let's go. Kansas State.
I mean, there's a lot of G5 programs. There's some G5 programs that are better than the middle tier of the Big Ten.
It's not wrong. Not wrong.
So it's like, or the ACC.
Yeah.
So it's like again, like, but football fans out there, especially, I love my dad. He's a great human being, and people my dad's age, but they still think it's 1970s football, where we have unlimited scholarships and then it's like 10 programs who run the sport, and they still do, but the talent is spread out more. It's like guys, if they're riding the bench early and they don't see any playing time, they bolt, they get the hell out. Yeah. And if they can find another power school, great. If they can't, they'll go to a Tulane. They'll go to, a Fresno State. They'll go to places like that.
I mean, look, there's a lot. There's a lot of talent out there, and guys want to play. John's right. If they'll go someplace where they get a chance to play, because once again, this is even 1980.
Look at Memphis. Yeah. Memphis was a granted they just went and embarrassed their former head coach.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Same thing. NFL team. There's just so much video. There's so much data. There's so much everything out there. It's not just like
there's so many illegal 4K cell phones just filming your sideline.
That too, but it's like
or the glasses to record.
But you can go to Tulane, and someone with NFL will still notice you at Tulane if you're balling out.
I guess I'm also going with it, keeping in mind too that guys are getting injured more and more, and maybe it's maybe it's increased, or maybe it's just my perception of the sport as well. But that does give them the opportunities and stuff to get picked up, at least in the NFL.
It's kind of
as
a
well.
miracle that a guy like Kobe McKenzie is still on this roster and he's actually contributing, because I thought he was an instant candidate for like, well, Danny Stutzman's the guy. And no, man, they kept him involved, and now it's starting to click for him too. And it's like that's why it's frustrating, because it's like this could be the best defense we've had in God knows, and we can't capitalize potentially because we have a ridiculous schedule and our offense is just, incapable of like being consistently healthy, and like we can't. It's still hard to count on them in certain moments, but Jackson had put the team on his back moment late in the game, and I don't expect him to do that every big game where he just like, I'm going to tuck it and run, which, it's like that'll get him killed against some teams at some weeks. But, you know what? Like, it was like a great move on him because he said, fuck it. At the very least, we need to get a first down. And at the very least, he got that. Then he got the score. And then it's like, it's not going to guarantee he's going to get a statue on the east side of the stadium, but it's a start. It's something. He's like, you know what? Yeah. My first read's not there. My O-line is shaky. I see a lane. Boom. Good call. Good read. Good job, Jackson Arnold. That's how you start making those decisions where it gets, because you start to catch up. The game slows down for you. And it's like, I can run. I can make the corner pylon, or I can make it. He needs to take fewer hits, though. He needs to slide a little bit more. I don't like doing that shit.
He said in the post presser that he was hurting.
Of course he was.
My last question concerning Tulane and stuff too. You briefly mentioned it, and I kind of want to delve a little bit more. I agree with you. You mentioned that the defense kind of did brand new packages against Tulane with those blitz packages and everything, and they did look genuinely.
I don't recall saying
that they had different stuff ready to go that we hadn't seen all year at this point.
No, what I said was like, I know for a fact they're going to have Brent's going to have some exotic packages for Tennessee. That's what I was
okay. I was going to say, I vaguely recall
what happened in this game for the most part is that our pass rush has started to develop late in the game. Now, Tulane was in a spot where, because OU was close multiple times in this game of like, and it finally started to click a little bit because again, they were in a position where they were down 2 scores and they can't run the ball and they're forced to throw it down the field, which opens up the door for, guys like R. Mason to like, get involved. But just the pass rush is developing. It has nothing to do with like they're throwing different stuff out there. It's like, I mean, maybe that's true to an extent, but it's just about, can I beat my guy one-on-one, dip my shoulder and get to the dude before he gets the ball out? And our Mason Thomas, like, I won't say he went Super Saiyan. He learned the Kaioken this week. Let's say Super Saiyan for next week.
That's a good comparison.
Everyone just goes straight to Super Saiyan. It's like, you know what? Let's learn the Kaioken first. Let's multiply our power level by 2, 3, 4 times. 4 times gets dangerous, but it's just save Super Saiyan for like Texas, and because
or Tennessee.
Arch Manning is God now. He beat Kent State.
So God,
UTSA, man. You don't want to mess with those.
I'm sorry, UTSA. I can't stay with thinking Texas. The other UT.
Have you seen what Roadrunners do to Coyotes? It's not pretty.
I mean, not in the cartoons I watched. The Roadrunner always won. So, but I find that shit so funny because there was like, I bet the Archidon people are feeling stupid now, and I'm like, you told us he was the greatest prospect ever. And you're trying to.
I have no problem saying it. Wasn't it Bob?
And you're trying to mock us by saying, "Look what he did to UTSA," and I'm like, he's supposed to do that to UTSA, right? So why are you like? This isn't like a big game where it's like it's the out. Like no, your fragile quarterback got hurt again. The Dr. Pepper Fansville curse is real. He's out for however long, and you want me to get excited because he tucked it and ran against like UTSA. All right, for a big score, and then Sark ran a play where he was going to stand in his own end zone, and if you don't get the ball out of his hands, he gets folded like an accordion, and I'm like, you're going to get your superstar killed, your backup superstar that everyone loves. And so again, Texas ain't playing anybody worth a shit till they play us. That's where we're at. So, and we got to play.
And I'm not trying to be
balls,
this guy,
and then we got to play Auburn on the road.
Though.
So
right now they do look competent.
Sure, no, Texas looks like a competent football team, and they did. But are they number one? If you,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's
you give them the ranking all you want. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
Nobody's played. Yeah, nobody's played any. Like nobody's really played.
Can you imagine if General Booty got the win next week? How great that would be.
Yeah,
if they beat Texas, if Yo Monroe, that would be amazing.
God,
it's not gonna happen.
No.
But it'd be like, oh
It'd
my
be one
god,
of the greatest upsets ever.
Booty versus Arch. It's like, how do you not watch that game?
I don't watch here.
It would be great. Booty would finally get his flowers against Texas.
If he wasn't like ill, he would have played against Texas. And we don't win the game regardless, but it's like, God, I would have loved.
We would have at least scored a touchdown.
Yes, we probably would have scored a touchdown, but it's
it's wild, and I agree with you, Sean, of how the media just immediately fawned over.
Damn it, that
Texas.
game's on the same time that we're playing, so I can't watch it.
Josh, the thing you have to remember, NFL, NCAA, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, they have a new favorite QB every 2 months. They do. They do. It's just the nature of it. Caleb Williams is him. Well, I mean, and they got.
Are you fucking kidding me? When Caleb Williams won the game for us, he was him.
Oh, he was him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That was the first thing that came to. That's just the thing I thought of. But that's just.
I mean, he eventually won the Heisman, even though it's like he kind of backdoored into it, but he won it. So congratulations.
Okay. Caleb was a bad example, but my point is, it changed. It literally changes all the time. So it's. I mean, and you know what? I'm not saying Arch is talent, but let's see how he plays a team. I want to see how he does against a real team before I anoint anything. But
he's got to go up against Joe. But no, that's not it. No, if Arch actually could there is a, depending on how bad Quinn Ewers' strain is to his oblique or whatever the fuck, or abdomen.
It's supposed to be week to week.
Yeah, so I expect Quinn to be back for Dallas at worst case scenario, unless there's because when they said it was an ab strain, I'm like, okay, this is either going to be a really short-term injury or a very long-term injury, because it all depends how bad the strain is. Because if it's a bad one, he out for a minute. Because if it's a small one, it's like, okay, you just gotta the only thing you can do is just let it heal. That's all you can do. There's really no treatment you can do. It's just all right, just let it heal. It's gonna suck for a week or two, and then you go from there.
The best.
But this is year 3 in a row where he's missing games. So
it's not. It's not like you have to use your abs while throw. Oh no, you you have to use your abs for everything. Yeah, no, he's screwed. Yeah, he's screwed. I mean, some NFL team's going to convince themselves they want him just because.
Like JJ McCarthy.
Well, I mean, that happened.
If anyone puts him in the first round, I demand that they be banned from watching the sport ever again.
He's going in the first. He's going in the first round. NFL teams are dumb and desperate when it comes to quarterbacks. Everyone was saying,
you can't put him in the first round. It's irresponsible.
Bo Nix won
he has no accurate deep ball. He has no accurate deep ball. That's kind of important in the league.
Yeah.
If you can't make all the throws, that you have to, even if you're not the best, you have to make All of them.
I can fix him.
The
I'm
days of
sure
Chad,
it.
the days of Chad Pennington, whose max throw ability is like 25 yards down the field for the Jets, is over.
I can fix him. I
No,
know
you
it.
can't. There is no fixing him.
I agree. I agree, but that's NFL GMs see it.
You ran over your Michelangelo figure with your bike. Go to the store and buy a new one. His soft tissue has the durability of those Ninja Turtle weapons from 1988.
That is a very deep cut. I'm very.
Oh no!
I am always
swords. Oh, Leonardo's swords broke again. Can they just sell those stupid little plastic things separately? No, I gotta buy a new Leonardo. Okay, Michelangelo's nunchucks. Oh, they broke again. So, ugh.
I mean,
that's a really good, impressive reference, Sean. Like that, I can always rely on you to have something like that.
I lived that shit. You know how many times those fucking things broke?
Yeah, I did too.
In my toy box when I was a kid. Like, my parents set my ass to some freaking weird church elementary school, and we would pray every day about things we were worried about, and you have kids talking about family members like who had like serious illnesses or people who are going through tough times. I wish for God to fix my Ninja Turtle weapon toys, man, so I can like have like proper. And the motherfucking teacher just actually closed her eyes. We all prayed that my Ninja Turtle weapons would heal by the power of Christ. And then one day at dinner, I told my parents I was going to hell because that's what I learned at school today. And then my father yanked me out of the middle of school the next day, just walked into the classroom. Where are we going, Dad? Home. And then I stayed home for the rest of the school year because they were worried that I was like had to be deprogrammed from religious nuts.
All because
I just thought I never had to go to school anymore. I just like, oh, this is neat. What do you mean I have to go back to school? So yeah, that's my little.
That was still a good reference, Sean. I'm proud of you. I was trying to think outside.
Jesus, by the way, Jesus never fixed my Ninja Turtle toys, so fuck him.
Disappointment. The outside of Texas being fawned over, guys, I gotta say too, like. Boy, Florida State's a dumpster fire.
And
you want to talk about Florida State? What's left to talk about?
Florida State, like, are we going to have players that seriously opt out?
Probably not. I mean,
look, I had these fuckers winning the ACC, and I'm not going to pretend that I really put a lot of effort into that pick. I just thought, okay, experienced football team. DJ Ungalele. He had a decent year at Oregon State. That's fine. That'll work. They got a really good defensive line. Yeah, okay, I'll pick them to win the ACC, and Miami will make the playoff too. And now Miami is going to be like the only team from the ACC because they'll probably going to win the conference at this point.
Well, I really see. All I'm rooting for is both Florida State and Florida to just be good enough to have Billy and Mike survive, so they get into that last week.
Billy Napier's not surviving.
Oh,
no.
He's one loss to Jeff Lebby away from like that getting expedited.
Death is knocking on the door.
Game. But yeah, Napier. Yeah, I mean, Napier's screwed. Norvell probably isn't because he got that big contract extension because they were afraid. And they're afraid Alabama was going to poach him, but
they got all their money locked up trying to like sue the ACC to get out of the conference. So I don't know what they're going to do now.
I don't know.
We got money. We're getting out, and it's like, ugh.
Well, you know what? Well, just wait. 3 years from now, live from Saudi Arabia, it'll be Florida State versus. I don't know, some FCS team that's getting
Idaho
like
State
$2 million to show up. Yeah.
No. Well, the Republicans will be back in full power if that happens. I'm at the point right now where Florida State is going to be the saddest like rivalry game this year.
The biggest pillow fight ever.
it's going to be like a 3-win versus a 4-win team, and it's just going to be like someone's got to win, and it's just like, ugh. It's gonna be
I
awful.
talked to Dad about that, and he said, I mentioned to him, man, how wild is it if I mentioned to you almost 30 years ago that Florida State was going to be this game? He's like, I wouldn't have believed you. He's like, this is going to be such a terrible game.
I mean,
the sicko game.
I mean, it happens. I mean, that's what happens when you have when you have unserious people running your programs.
90s football is in disarray right now. Michigan's going to be garbage. Florida State's garbage. Nebraska has hope for the time being because Nebraska, in theory, should win out until they play Ohio State, and then they'll get crushed by them. But no one's going to hold it against like Matt Rule for losing to Ohio State. So
I mean, yeah, but Matt Rule. I mean, I could see Nebraska beating Ohio State.
No, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Are you what? No.
What?
That's
I don't know what,
Swiggy,
no.
that's your Ohio State side of I hate Ryan Day. It could happen.
Yes, it is. I freely admit it. I freely admit it.
Ohio State doesn't. I mean, Nebraska has no they have no athletes on the back end of their defense. That is not happening.
Ohio State's quarterback is Will Howard. Anything is possible.
I understand the Will Howard thing because I've been screaming about that too. But when it comes to being Will Howard, I don't see Ohio State winning the national title with Will Howard at quarterback. Will Howard at quarterback can whoop Nebraska with like the weapons they have at wide receiver. Don't misconstrue that. Like,
Okay, I'll take it back. I'm gonna back down. I won't be surprised. But I thought I was looking at the schedule. I thought they were at Oregon and then next week at home against Nebraska. Now they have a bye week, so yeah.
I don't care who they play the week before or after. When that game happens, Ohio State gonna whoop Nebraska. It's happening.
Yeah.
Probably.
Dylan Raiola is a nice young quarterback, and he's gonna like really make Nebraska fans happy when they win a bunch of games against like garbage teams and everything, and have like a record that's respectable.
Look, man, I've seen Ohio State randomly drop games.
They're not doing it to this team. They don't have athletes on the back end. I'm sorry, they don't.
Probably, yeah.
Like every Nebraska fan I know is like, we cannot let people get past our defensive line or else we're fine. Because they know deep inside they don't have the players.
Yeah.
It's bad. Like the back end is bad. Like Oklahoma, Rick Lincoln Riley bad era. It's not good. It's going to be rough if they go up against a team with the pulse like Ohio State. So again, Raiola, God bless him. He might be able to make some plays and make things interesting for a quarter and a half, but I'm not going to. No. Matt Rule, hell of a football coach, college coach, just not this year. He needs more help. He needs to like.
He does. He needs that. Oh, he does. And a few years maybe for Nebraska, but
I want to win this game on Saturday in Norman just to shut all these fuckers up who are ready. You're gonna be the next Nebraska.
Okay.
Well, and it's what people have said. Only one commentator has even commented, like, from everybody else, that our O-line's pretty, like, beat up with all the injuries and stuff, and that nobody else is saying that. They're trying to spin that narrative.
Well, no, the O-line was going to be a problem. See, this is why it's so bad. The O-line was going to be a question mark before the injuries.
Yeah.
You see? So when you add that to that component, then it makes it even more of a clusterfuck. So it's not that surprising. Like, to me, it was like, oh shit, it is really that bad when they couldn't get any push or they had no cohesion. It was just like, fuck me, we can't run the ball. That we're finally running the ball a little bit now. And that's the key. Like, can we run the football? Can Taylor Tatum make better reads, can make better cuts, and Javonte Barnes, like all these things. So if OU can run the ball a little bit along with Jackson Arnold, keep the defense honest, and maybe you get Deion Burks to get behind that secondary that's a little sus for Tennessee, because like you're gonna have to stretch the field. They're gonna have to find a way to stretch this thing. Deion Burks, get Nate Anderson in there, get the tight ends involved. If they find a way to win this game, it will be amazing.
OU Nebraska level, OU Texas Tech level, like I'm not worried about the crowd bringing it. I think the crowd's going to bring it.
Well, they need to. They better bring it.
No, yeah, they need to.
I'll be there. I'll be screaming.
Oh, here's another thing, real quick.
And I'll be fully recovered, so I will actually be screaming versus the lackluster that I had against Tulane. Of y'all don't need me for this.
Here's another thing. We need to put a stop to all this like loving on Josh Heupel shit, because we need to we need to bring our A game. Yeah. I love Josh Heupel to death, but
this ain't the game for it.
There are three things that I have a problem with Josh Heupel. 3 strikes and he's out. Number 1, he's coaching the opposing team. Number 2, he's wearing that ugly ass orange. And number 3, this motherfucker tries to win the game, then he's going to start to piss me off.
That was the point I kept forgetting. I was telling my coworker you had the 3 points, but I only remembered 2.
You remember? You said, this is a funny joke, but I forgot the punch.
No.
Oh god.
Hey, he still laughed at the other 2, but
it's like I have 3 strikes for Josh Heupel. Strike 1 is that he's coaching their side. Number 2, he's wearing that ugly ass orange. And number 3, if this motherfucker even tries to win the game, then we're gonna have a problem. Strike 3, he's out.
We got
and he plans and he's planning to do all 3. So if they I swear if they put up a tribute video for him, I'm gonna puke.
They're going. They're putting a tribute
video.
Like this just isn't a
like
game.
It's not an if. It's a Josh. Welcome home. We know you're on the other side, but we just want you to know no hard.
Do you have 4 hours to sit down for interviews for our unreleased Part 4 History of the Program DVD series?
Yeah.
That's a deep cut too. I'm proud of you for that one. I was just thinking about that the other day.
Do you have 4 hours? You can wear your Tennessee shirt. It's fine.
We'll know what day it was. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, we're treating this too nice, and we got to be mean. Like,
I mean, it's one thing.
I get it.
I mean, it's one thing if Heupel comes back against like if he's North Texas.
I mean, you don't have to murder
or something, but
you don't have to murder his family and set his house on fire. But I mean, you can like.
I kind of want to. I mean, I was the one who was driving past. I was the one driving past Lincoln Riley's house.
No. You could burn that house to the ground. I'm talking about Heupel.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying with Heupel, you need to listen. Like, you need to punch him in the mouth. How many times have we as Oklahoma fans had this like super high powered offense, and we think we're going to go in there, we're going to do our thing, but some like really good defense just shuts us down and makes our lives miserable. It's our turn to do that. God damn it! It's our turn to be the defense.
I have PTSD, so yeah.
It is our turn to be the defense that drives an offense like that insane, shuts everything down, and wins the football game. It's our turn.
Yeah.
And I think it's possible. I think if we have the pass rush, I think it's 100% there that they can do it.
That's going to be my video for like tomorrow or Thursday. It's our turn. God damn it.
Just putting it out there. Some rumblings from college reporters. ACC presidents apparently are talking to Clemson, FSU about a renewed revenue structure that would resolve the disputes with them.
If we give you guys like all the money, would you stay then?
Apparently, so apparently that seems to be the goal. So I don't know.
I mean, it's just a band-aid to a bullet at this point.
We'll just tell Wake Forest the checks in the mail for the next 12 years.
I mean,
they're cool. Wake Forest is cool. They know you're good for it.
Syracuse doesn't even remember if they're in the conference or not. You know, we'll come up with something.
I think it's less that they remember they're in the conference, and it's more, the SEC went, we don't want this. I'm sorry. The Big Ten's like, no.
Syracuse uses the same stadium for football and basketball, so we can, they can take a cut.
I mean,
it's all good.
I mean,
is Florida State getting a reality check of what their brand is? Is that some of it? A true serious question.
I don't think it's a reality check. I think it's more just the state of where the Big Ten and SEC are right now, as far as all of it goes, because we're still in that. Look, look, we're still in the because SEC doesn't need Florida. They have Florida. They have the University of Florida already. So TV markets, it's whatever. Plus, you're still in this kind of soft landing period. Oh, it's not soft.
Well, the Big
Ten
and the SEC don't want to do this like we're coast to. Well, the Big Ten did.
The Big Ten.
I digress. I meant to say the SEC doesn't want to do this. That we're not doing this whole. We need teams just to have teams BS.
Yeah,
and it's like, we the old adage was, well, we're never going to add these teams. We're not going to anger Florida, and we're not going to anger. And then, meanwhile, A&M was told they'd be grandfathered into that, but they weren't. So,
I think that's still.
And it was really fucking hilarious that they was like, sorry, these all these other schools had a favored nations contract, and you didn't. Where we promised not to add these schools. So
So I think so I think as far as it goes right now, as much as Florida State and Clemson do, as much as they might want out right now, the best thing, sit tight for a little bit. If they did, assuming the
moment they fired Dabo, Clemson's back to being like whatever they were.
Clemsoning.
Yeah,
I think they're already there.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Losing to Georgia is not.
Yeah,
like,
they're not there yet.
It's not an indictment to lose to Georgia. It is. What is an indictment for Georgia is that they don't have an explosive offense right now, and that's like concerning.
Yeah.
And good news. I mean, quasi good news. Their star offensive lineman, he got tightrope surgery on his ankle, so maybe he can come back this year. Maybe.
Maybe very late in the year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out for a minute, but but he is a projected first-round pick too, so you may just say fuck it, I'm not going to play.
But Josh, like I was saying, I mean, no one wants to add right now. Florida State, Clemson, their best option is to chill. If you're lower tier ACC, like your only option, like take this. Otherwise, screw it. Let's just recreate the Big East.
I'm gonna ride out this storm and just wait till clouds clear.
Do you think that's a negative though? Because if they're waiting, stuff's already passing by them still.
They don't have a place to go, Josh. What are they gonna do?
And I understand. I mean, go to the Big 12. They'll accept anybody.
Virginia Tech doesn't have a home to go to.
No, there's no. Like I said, I'm only half joking about recreating the Big East, but that's just where they are right. That's just where they are right
now.
Like
North Carolina is the one school that has a safe landing spot. SEC would gladly add.
Yeah.
But doesn't
the fucking SEC network? The SEC network studios is based in North Carolina.
Right. Didn't the Big Ten want North Carolina though as well?
Sure.
So it'd actually be a genuine fight for North Carolina.
Right, but but if I'm North Carolina, I'm joining the SEC. Are you kidding me? Because you get the money and you get the regional rivalries, and I'm sure they'll still play Duke and stuff.
You have to fly out to California. That's not. I mean, that is.
That's the thing.
If I'm Cal and Stanford, do I rethink my ACC membership and go back to this new Pac-12? Or it depends on the money.
Oh, I was going to say it depends.
They're not making it. I don't think they're. I forget. I know SMU basically gave up any revenue share to join the ACC. I forget what Cal.
They're basically glorified interns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'd at least debate it. I mean, especially, like if the
they're on ESPN.
Like if the ACC was going, especially if the ACC, although I guess doomsday clock for the ACC is moved back a minute or two if this deal's accepted. But
this new Pac-12 needs what? They need at least 2 more schools. So Cal, Stanford, it would be.
I think right now it says reports said they want to go after Memphis and Tulane, which that's not really Pac anymore, but whatever.
All across
geography doesn't mean anything anymore.
Exactly, doesn't mean anymore. So Yeah,
Stanford's always been my favorite Atlantic Coast team. So
would they add? Would they just say fuck it and add Hawaii as one of them?
no.
as
No,
a pack, Hawaii, I
uh,
think's already said they're not. They wouldn't be
Hawaii,
interested.
Hawaii, and yeah, well, Hawaii's in their own little zone because they're not serious about football.
They should just drop football. They really should.
Their
stadium is like falling the fuck apart. It is.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I mean that's why I said Hawaii's just not serious about football. So if they're not serious, I'm not dragging my ass to Hawaii for something non-serious like that ever, or bringing them here. I mean, hey, I'll say good job to the Pac too for. I mean, it always seemed logical to try and get some of the Mountain West. So
I've been informed there's going to be a lunar eclipse, and that our football conversation will prevent us from seeing a lunar. There's a lunar eclipse happening. What, turn me into a furry or something?
Yeah,
because that
there is a lunar eclipse tonight.
If I became a furry, I would kill myself. That is the one thing I have. Listen, I do not kink shame very often at all, but that is the one thing that I'm like, if I ever became a furry for any reason, I would ask someone to end my life. Like
Sean,
put me in a hospital bed and end me.
Sean, what is your cry for help? Hey guy,
listen,
what?
if you see me in a fucking fursuit for any reason, or you see me buying what's the term, commissioned art on the internet, if you see this, like it is the go ahead to like hire a hitman to end my life. It is over. I will no. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some furries. I interact with them. Some of them are nice people, but I always tell them, you people are fucking crazy, and
they laugh all the way to the bank.
No. They're not even the artists. I'm saying the artists are smart. The people who can draw, who steal furry, they steal the furries' money. I don't know if they're furries themselves, but the people who draw furry art for people are smart because they charge outrageous prices and people pay it. They find a way. So everyone says the economy is bad right now. Under Joe Biden's America, furries find the way to get the money to pay for this shit. So I don't know what everything seems to be going fine for them. But yeah, if that ever happens to me, you have my permission to end my life. But we're thankfully never going to be there.
It'd be a dark day in hell.
Now look, I enjoy watching some of the classic like Disney cartoons that have animal characters in them. That doesn't count. So if I start talking about how much I like DuckTales from like 6 years ago, that's not counts. Doesn't count. No one kill me. If I talk about like Scrooge McDuck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie and them doing their thing and the remake of DuckTales, once in a while I post clips from that good cartoon. It was a good
cartoon.
It was a
good one. I think I want to say, I want to save the rest of like the Tennessee talk and everything for next live stream. So that really, I don't have too much else at this point. The rest of week 3 outside of Florida State and the Texas like Love Fest really was kind of all even I wanted to highlight and everything. We got Tennessee coming up this Saturday. Swiggy, let's wrap up. Do we have any final thoughts?
Hey, that is not a fucking furry. That is a fucking dinosaur. Fuck you. That is a velociraptor. That is from an episode of The Critic. It is a joke. It is a joke about a fake Jurassic Park sequel where the raptors are so smart. One of them is named Mr. Pilkington. Oh my god. Which is my display name on Twitter. The other raptors and I have constructed a crude suspension bridge to Venezuela.
It would only make it better if you had the golden hat on it.
This fucking thing isn't furry, so fuck you.
Someone got you to melt.
It would only make it better. It would only make it better if you had the hat, Sean.
God damn it.
Swiggy, final thoughts? Anything for week 3 OU's game against Tulane before we wrap up?
My final thoughts are, I just hope everyone has fun and we kick Josh Heupel's teeth in.
As
You know,
the
he
tradition
needs
says.
teeth he needs teeth to chew food, so we can just kick his ass. How about that?
He'll
He
get
won us
fair.
a national. He won us a national title.
Okay, well, okay, fine. One.
Save the teeth kicking for Dallas.
Okay, fine.
Well,
Fine.
it's deserved.
Fine. We'll kick Sark's teeth in. We'll just kick Heupel's ass.
There you go.
That's fair. Gavin, final
it-
thoughts?
I would probably say, if anything, I'm just gonna save what I'm gonna save for tomorrow.
Sure. Sean, final thoughts?
I'm watching wrestling tomorrow, and I'm probably on another stream tomorrow. Now that I think about it, so
If you can still try to join in and everything.
I
Again,
was like, "Can we come on my stream?" And I'm like, "I guess." I mean,
yeah, but again, sinus infection like completely wiped my schedule the past
it's
week and a half.
I have you. I know I'm doing Horns Down again. Some Tennessee fan wanted me to come on, but they never got back to me. And I think I think they have fewer followers than you. So, and I don't mean that as an insult to you. I mean that as an insult to them.
I am proud of my 228. Thank you very much. 200 of them are bots. Well, they might be, but I am proud of all 200.
There are bots.
Hey, if bots click the video and let the ads play, I'm all for it.
Hey,
So.
they can be Sooner fans
Yeah.
too. I've had that too, though, Sean. I've had people coming out of the woodwork that I spoke to very briefly here and there that were Tennessee fans.
They want to talk to
"Remember
you?
me?" I'm like,
really?
yeah. I'm like, where have you been? I haven't talked to you in like 6 years. He's like, I've had a friend. He was like, oh yeah. He's like, I took a sabbatical. I'm like, a 6-year sabbatical, and yeah, it was just Tennessee people. Yeah,
Happens, man.
Wow.
Happens. There's COVID. I'm still on a sabbatical right now, if you think about it.
but Sean, if you can still join us for tomorrow night, hey, hop
I'm
on
watching
in
wrestling.
for 5 or
That's
10
what
minutes or anything like that. So
You got
everybody,
like
thanks
you got an hour out of me tonight. We good?
yeah. Everybody, that's all we got for tonight. Thank you all for joining. Again, thank you all for being patient as well. Again, with being sick with sinus infection and everything's kind of changed. So we will also be live streaming tomorrow night on our regular scheduled time to preview Tennessee as well as week 4. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you know when the channel updates. Additionally, be sure to check out previous videos and live streams as it helps bump the channel numbers up and helps with the video algorithm in the search bar and or after videos. Again, live stream tomorrow night, same time, same place. We hold post-game videos on Sundays or Mondays and usually a preview on a Wednesday or Thursday. So always be sure to check the calendar when that's going to happen. Finally, spread the word, guys, about the channel. More people who subscribe, the larger audience will be, the more fan interactions that we have in the chat. Boomer Sooner, guys, only one. We'll see y'all tomorrow night. Talk some Tennessee. Later.
Later.